Hello Booktube, it's Louise the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're all well today. I'm doing very well. This is the second video that is the wrap up of my reading month of July, and this features the books that I read in Booktubeathon and then the following week. So it's not too many, but they were okay. There was, again, mixed. I had such a mixed reading month, but such is life, and I'm not too worried about that. So I'll just quickly go through the books that I read in Booktubeathon, which, as we know, weren't too many because I was a poorly girl. So I read Nora Roberts' Morrigan's Cross, which is book one of the Circle trilogy. It's a paranormal romance. The romance featured no angst, and it's a bit of a set-up book. So it suffered for that, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a good athon read, I think, because it caused me no trouble. I was quite happy to read it. Then I started reading Moonraker by Ian Fleming, which is a Cold War spy thriller featuring James Bond. I loved it. I think it's very much you keep the films on one side and the books on the other side. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I highly rate it as a Cold War spy thriller. It was so evocative. It so captured that period for me. Brilliantly written, cool, calm, collected, superb, really superb. He is a master. Ian Fleming is a master. Then I read Patricia Cornwell's The Girl in the Cellar, which was a 1950s mystery. It was okay. It did its job. I was able to go through it. It's a murder mystery, but the murder happens before the book opens. There wasn't a lot of threat, wasn't a lot of peril, but it was a decent Patricia Wentworth, and I was quite happy to read it, and I read it in a day, so that's fine. Then, as my last Booktubeathon book, I had picked up A Dark Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is a fantasy book set in 4 different Londons. We have Red London, where magic is freely available and used. We have Grey London, where there is no magic at all, or very, very little. We have White London, where there's kind of magic fights you. And we have Black London, where magic has completely overtaken and is an entity in itself. Kel, our hero, protagonist, is a traveller, one of the few travellers who can move between the 4 different Londons and different, therefore, realities. He's also a smuggler, and therefore bad things happen. I started reading it, and I did really enjoy it. It's a smaller fantasy book, and this is the first of, I think, of what's going to be a trilogy. And I wonder whether she is trying to accomplish too much with just this book. She's trying to set it up, and which is a brilliant, absolutely brilliant setup. I love the idea of the Londons, and obviously she knows it in depth. She knows it, and they're completely complete and true, and I loved that. I just feel, in wanting to keep this shorter, she sacrificed a lot of that setup by making the almost too plot heavy at the same time, and there was almost too much going on, and I didn't care enough. I did like Kel as a main character and Delilah, the other character, but the character I really felt the most for was Holland, and I don't believe I was supposed to think that, which, if you've read the book, it would make sense. So what happened was I got about halfway through, and I found myself reaching for other books and picking other things up. I knew I was going to finish it, but I can't explain what didn't, almost something didn't connect in some ways. Is it me? Is it the book? I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, I listened to a dramatisation of Agatha Christie's The Mysterious Affair of Styles, which was great, which is her first novel. It's where she introduces Hercule Poirot, her famous Belgian detective, and it's a lovely first book. You can really see how she's beginning to set up the murder mystery format, the genre. It's right at the beginning of how the genre is formed, and you can see her playing and toying, and you can also, if you read more Agatha Christie's, you can see how it develops, and it's a lovely place to start. And we meet Hastings as well, his ever faithful sidekick, who I adore. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was a very good dramatisation that I listened to. And then I picked up The Queen of Shadows, which is the 4th in the Throne of Glass series. This was a reread for me. I read it in June for the first time, and I was listening to Crown of Midnight on audio, and for some reason I can't remember what it was, but something caught me and I thought, oh, and I picked this up and started to read it again. I kind of read it in the middle and then thought, no, I'll actually reread the whole thing, and I did. I read it over 2 days. It was really good, really enjoyable, and actually listening to Crown of Midnight and then rereading this, I could see a lot more of the development. I could see how Sarah J. Maas has developed as a writer. I could see how the characters have developed and the plots developed, and actually I really enjoyed that. It gave it a different feel, so I was glad I reread it. The next one comes out next month, so I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. So that's Queen of Shadows. That's the 4th one. So you can see I read that, and then I went back to this and finished this off. Excuse me. And I said, right, I'm going to just reread it. I'm going to finish this off. And I sat there in about an hour and I finished it. And I just wonder whether it suffers from being the first book of the trilogy, and that's what I'm missing, because there's obviously backstory there for the characters, and I don't have an issue with V.E. Schwab's writing at all. I don't have an issue with the setup. I have an issue with the pacing. I think there's a lot of issue with the pacing, and I wonder whether she was trying to accomplish too much in such a small book for the complexity of the tale. I don't know. If you have read A Gathering of Shadows, which is the next book, do we get a lot more backstory there? Does it delve into the history of it more? I don't know. Let me know if anybody has read the second one or has read this and has similar concerns. I would love to hear about that. So yes. And then the last book I read in the month was a one-sitting wonder. Blue is the Warmest Colour by Julie Moreau, which is a coming-of-age lesbian love story. It's now a very well-known film. It's much beloved. I picked it up because I'm trying to get into graphic novels, and this is obviously much beloved and has everything that you would need for a graphic novel. And yet, again, I think it's me, not the book, and I'm sure it's the format. The tale's fine. I liked Emma as a character. Clementine, Clem, the other character. Not so. I did. And people say that they cry at the end of this, and I tried to get invested. I did. I tried. And it's perfectly fine as the drawings and everything, but I think it's the format. I'm a very visual person, and so having what the people look like right there in front of me means I don't get as invested as much. I think part of the what I love about reading is the fact that I go into my own imagination. I use my own imagination so much more. And something about graphic novels means you can't, I can't, because it's there for me. I feel like you've done half the work for me, and instead of relaxing into that, I miss it. So I'm wondering whether as a format, it's not for me. I mean, it was fine. It was lovely. Lovely. Yeah. So there we go. So I did enjoy it, but I was hoping for more. So what a mixed bag I've had this month. But mainly good. But yeah, there we go. And that's it. Here we go. That's my last of my books for July. And now we go on to August. Crikey, is it August already? I know, we're all feeling like that at the moment, aren't we? We're all saying, is it August already? And August always goes quickly. The last thing I have to show you, and this is not something that I have read yet, but it's here! Oh, it's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in my hot little hands. Oh yes, I'm trying hard not to just sit and read it. Oh, it's here. But I do want to read it before I see anybody else's reviews on it, so I am going to have to read it in the next day or two, which isn't going to be a hardship, let's be honest, but hooray! So already August is going to be fabulous because I have the 8th Harry Potter. Here we go. Lovely to see you, Booktube. I hope you had a more complete and more happy July reading than I did. Because I had DNFs and I had books that I was disappointed in, although I had some good ones in there as well. I hope you had a really good month and I hope you really enjoyed yourself. And have you succumbed? Have you got it as well? Go on, tell me. Lovely to see you, Booktube, and I look forward to doing this again. Bye!